With Ben and Cage, obviously in a season where you've had a lot of injury, how nice has it been to have that consistency?
It's been awesome for us, but also for those guys. I mean, they've just been able to like have their little language, their little communication, their little rhythm, their little flow. So it's really good for those guys, and that's why they're playing well right now, is because they've had some continuity, been able to kind of develop some chemistry. So really, really excited for those guys just because they're playing at a pretty high level right now.
How much has having that base kind of helped with all these new guys that have come in and had to step in at a moment's notice?
That's always the like, okay, do we break them up and then put Ben to right guard, and then we kind of spread it out? But we made the decision early in the season, once we started kind of rotating guys in due to injury, like we were just going to let those guys stay to left and just kind of get their little chemistry going. And again, it's kind of been working out for them. So really, really excited that they've been able to kind of get that momentum going.
Obviously, injuries are a little bit of luck of the draw, or unlucky of the draw. But just for those guys, just to be healthy all year, just what does it say about them as football players?
It says a lot because they're playing, but they're not healthy. No one's healthy right now. So that's this time of year. It's always like this spectrum of what is healthy, how much pain you can play through, and man, if you had like a GoPro on those guys when they get up in the morning, they'd probably look like they're like, just got out of a car accident. So it says a lot about them, but they've put a ton of investment into their body. And I know like Cage is one of those guys, he's looking at Instagram and he's doing different stretching routines and different mobility exercises in the evening. So that's paying dividends, just how committed those guys have been to trying to stay on the field for as long as they can.
Tim, how is running the ball in the fourth quarter different than maybe the previous three quarters?
Especially for this season, like we've had obviously some success in the fourth quarter, running the ball more than we've had. We've been able to start fast in games. A lot of that's just been Ashton breaking a bunch of tackles and doing his thing. But that's always like our motto, like technique and conditioning wins in the fourth quarter. So that's want to be our hallmark. It's not so much whether we're a mid-zone team or a duo team. Like we just want our conditioning, our technique to like be the hallmark of our group in the fourth quarter, and hopefully that's enough to kind of wear the other team out.
So with that in mind, how do you feel like you've ran the ball in the fourth quarter this year?
We've done a good job. It's been fun. It's been fun because especially like last week, everyone's a little tight and a little like, man, when are we gonna get going? And you just look at those guys and we're like, hey, what do you guys want to run? They're like, just anything. Just keep running the ball. Like just let us get in our rhythm, let us get in our flow. And it's been awesome just to see those guys be able to like be at their best late in the game when it's important. They can kind of be a unit that's wanting to kind of take the game over.
Ben almost had, we were talking to him about like, he says he can sense like when you guys feel like you are about to break a team, and he kind of did so with like that little psycho smile on his face. Like what can you tell him, what is it like for an offensive lineman to get to that point and start to finish a game?
It's one of those things where like that playing in the trenches is such a physical and mental demand. Like you can just kind of feel, even though it may not result in a big carry, you can just kind of like feel it as you're executing your assignment. And that's where those guys, like, they're looking for that. Like, they're trying to find that. So, especially the older guys that, him and Cage have had enough reps. Like, when we run inside zone, like, they know how to run inside zone. They've done it 100 times. So now they're kind of playing that game within the game and seeing if they can, establish themselves and take the game over.
Ben brought up yesterday the friendly little wager that Mason and Ashton had about 2,000 rushing yards, and Mason's going to have to get a tattoo of the final rushing yards. And then Ben was like excited, said, I may have to get a tattoo as well. Just how much is this group kind of embracing what Ashton's been doing and kind of the numbers that he's been putting up?
It's a big deal. Like those guys, even before all the hype and all the like awesome accolades that Ashton's getting, like way back in January, like they made a commitment to trying to be their best for him. And I think that's the cool thing about offensive line. Like just visualize offensive linemen. Those guys do 90% of the work without seeing what's going on. Like they don't even see what's happening behind them until lots of times on Sunday or on the iPad. They're like, oh, that was an awesome run, because they're so ingrained on just doing their assignment. So it's been awesome, because also Ash is that type of person. Like, he's that type of person. He's not a guy that just says, hey, give me the ball. I want my touches. I want my carries. Like, he's trying to make everyone around him better. So he's got this energy, this enthusiasm about him that kind of is a rallying point. And our guys have latched on that way back in January when we were running in the snow here and doing our mat drills in the snow. Like, they were going to be committed to doing all the little things to hopefully have him be successful this season.
I'm sorry, what John meant to ask is, are you going to be getting a tattoo as well?
No, I'm not.
Sorry, Jeanty.
I'm not. Both. I get. We go, like, Thanksgiving's coming up and family holidays, and like both my brothers they got tatted up all over the place, and I got nothing. So they always make fun of me that I'm too scared to get a tattoo. So.
Why do you
One
think
way to
that
show
is?
'em.
Why do you think that is? That your two brothers, who I'm sure you're close to, they're all tatted up, and you just
They're just way tougher than me. I don't know. I just maybe if I find something I really like, but just haven't been able to do it yet.
I've seen Roger moving around out there at practice a little bit.
Yeah.
Get
Get excited.
How we'll start there. How excited are you that he's back, at least to this capacity?
I am ecstatic, not for me, not that if he's going to play this week or not, like, that's irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
He has worked harder than, I don't want to say anyone else, because we got a lot of guys that work hard, but he's been grinding in the darkness. Like, no one cheers him on Saturdays. Like, he's gotten this like mission where he's going to give himself a chance just to get back. Whether he comes back or not, like, who knows? But he's worked so hard and so diligent with no recognition, with no pats on the back, and it just means that much to him. Again, not for him, just because he wants to be part of the group, wants to get back, and wants to help continue having some success this season.
How is he? I mean, we were talking with Ben yesterday, and Ben was like, he's just different. Like, what is different? What does Roger offer to your offensive line when he's in there?
Again, I think the biggest thing offensive lineman you can bring is like your mentality, and that I think you guys probably heard that word a lot, but at the end of the day, I've said inside zone's inside zone. So there's nothing magical about like footwork or a scheme. It's like how Roger like goes and attacks whatever that scheme is, and that's what he's done with his rehab. He's like attacked it. It's like, okay, I got to do whatever 5-pound leg lifts. Watch me attack this, and that's why he's been able to put himself in position to come back, is because like he's always on the attack. Like, you're never going to tell him no. You're never going to deny that guy. Like, once he's made up his mind, he's going to go accomplish that goal.
How remarkable is it that he's been able to even get to this point from, what he suffered week 2 of the season?
Yeah, I mean, just think about, like, it's extremely remarkable. It's like, I can't even believe that we're having this conversation. But if you know Roger, how remarkable is it that this kid from Jeanty, New Mexico, who never had like any training, conditioning, anything, is now at Boise State? Like, his whole thing is remarkable. So that's where initially, like, man, that's crazy. Like, no, I totally think that's capable. Like, he's capable of that. So that's just who he's been ever since he's been here, and like, we've been so excited to have him in our program, because that's what he brings. It's more than just what he does on the field. It's more just his success on like a pass play, but it's his mentality, how he attacks every single day.
Seems like every week another lineman going down. How much would it be for a nice change of pace just to get one back?
I can't even fathom that right now. It's like unfathomable to see guys coming back. I'm used to like seeing the injury report and just scanning them and like, okay, who's going to be out, and trying to find one of those O-lineman names. So it will be good. And again, not so much for what they can do on the field, because anyone that's coming back, Mason or Roger, any of those guys that have been injured, like, they've had to work extremely hard in the darkness with no one looking, with no one telling them good job. They just have been grinding. Hopefully they get back. Maybe they don't. Like, they just have to take the leap of faith and work, and they've done an extremely good job of putting themselves in position to have that opportunity.
When you have somebody that's been a backup throughout most of the season and then now comes into play, are they fresher? I mean, are the guys that take snaps during games more beat up than the guys that just do it during practice?
Yeah, we always kind of joke, those guys come back and they got fresh legs. So that's definitely a big part of rotating guys in, is to get a fresh guy in. That's what's been great about Jake. He had his injury early in the season, which kind of derailed him because he was competing for a starting position. And now he's one of those guys that is kind of fresh. He's a great changeup. He's a great off-speed guy to get in and get him. He's been getting like 25, 30 reps a game. So it's been awesome just to have him be available and come in and kind of get a little energy, get a little juice, have some fresh legs, and take some hits off some of those other guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.